In this demonstration, we'll take a look at how to configure user accounts on a Junos device. Now, the first thing that I want to do is go into my configuration mode to modify the configuration of the system. Now, when I type in the configure command, you'll notice that right above my prompt is in square brackets edit. So it's showing that I'm at the root of my system configuration in edit mode. Now, if I use my show command, I want you to notice that I'll see inside of the configuration, there is a system section. And inside the system section, there's a login section. And each section is kind of denoted with curly brackets. So there's the beginning of system, but notice that a close hasn't happened. But then there's root authentication, which is a subsection of system. And notice that root authentication is closing here. So I'm still inside system. Login is starting, and there's the beginning of login, and then there's the creation of the user account. So system closes way down here. So my point is that what I want to do is I want to go into just the login portion of the configuration. So what I can do is I can kind of navigate through the hierarchy of the configuration, say, okay, I want to edit system login. And then when I hit enter, notice that my prompt right above it in square brackets has the edit system login. So it's showing me the path to where I am with inside my configuration. Now, if I use my show command, I want you to notice that I only see the information that's inside the login section of the configuration file. So I can see my user account called Glenn here. Now, what I want to do is I want to create a new user account. So to create a new user account, we use the set user command. Now, keep in mind, if I was at the root level of the configuration, so I was in that, it had that edit in square brackets, then you would have to do like an edit system login space user. But because I'm already in login, then I can just use the set user. So I do set user. The user account that I want to create is going to be Bob. And then I'm going to use the authentication setting. Authentication. And the authentication setting is going to be used to set the password. And I'm going to specify that I want to set the password in plain text. Now that means that I, as the administrator, will supply the password as a plain text value, but it will get encrypted in the configuration. So I'm going to set my password for Bob. There we go. So I set my password for the Bob account. Now, if I use the show command again and hit enter, you'll notice that I still have the user account called Glenn, and here's all of his settings. So again, notice the sections being created here. So Glenn has a user ID of 2002. He is a super user. His authentication encrypted password is there. Same thing up here for Bob. User Bob is created. His authentication setting is there's the encrypted password. So notice that you don't see the plain text password. So plain text means you will supply a plain text value, but the password does get encrypted in the configuration. Now you will notice that I am getting a warning here on Bob, and that is that it's missing a mandatory statement, and that is I haven't assigned a class to this user. And what the user class is it's the type of user account that we're dealing with. So, do you want to make Bob an administrator of the device, or is he just a kind of a regular user? Now, if you want to see the different classes, what you can do is you can use your set user command because you're modifying a user account, specify the user, which is going to be Bob, and I do want to assign him a class, so I use the class keyword. But because I don't know the classes, I hit the question mark, and it pops up with a list of what should be going where the question mark is placed. So you can actually type in the actual class that you want to assign them, but notice that we see a list of possible values, right? So you can do things like assign Bob the super user class, which would give him all permissions to the device so he can fully administer the device. You can remove all permissions from Bob if you wanted to and ensure that they can't do anything by using the unauthorized class. You can also give them view capabilities with the read-only class, and then you can also make them an operator and the operator has limited administrative capabilities on the device itself. So not full capabilities, but they can do things like view information, they can alter the trace feature, alter network settings, right? That kind of idea. So in this case, I want to go and make Bob a super user. So I type super and hit tab for the autocomplete feature to kick in, and then I hit enter. Now, there's other settings that we can assign to the user. I want to go and assign a full name to Bob. So I'm going to do a set user Bob. The full name for Bob is going to be Bob Smith. Then I'm going to commit those changes. And if I use my show command, I should see there's my user Bob with the full name Bob Smith. The user ID is a unique number that represents that account. That's automatically assigned here by Junos. I can see the class is assigned and again the encrypted password. So in this demonstration, we saw how to create a user account in Junos OS.